Oilers and Stars, Dallas up 3-1. Some ugliness in the first period.
There were a lot of questions going into Game 5 of the Dallas-Edmonton series. Could the Oilers stave off elimination? Would Dallas win and buy themselves a playoff break? But the most important question of all is this Glenn Sather's last game as general manager of the Oilers. There are rumors Sather is finally ready to leave the city he loves to take a bite out of the Big Apple and take over the New York Rangers. That issue will be answered in the offseason, but if the Oilers don't win, yes, the offseason will begin tonight. Let's take a look at the highlights. Kevin Lowe, he's got his playoff game face on. He always does, and Billy Guerin knows it's do or die for the Oil. First period, Joe Nieuwendyk in front. Sean Brown and Tom Poti get the sticks up. And who's going to get the penalty there? It's Brown. He gets 4 minutes, in fact, as Joe hit the ice in a big, big way. You got to bleed Dallas Star green or whatever the heck you want to bleed in a playoff game. Second period, Stars in the power play. Poti with a giveaway. Gavey breaks in. Salo with a poke check, just like, you know who, Johnny Bauer. That's what we always say, so we're scoreless. Dallas in the power play, though. Langenbrunner, there he is. He beats Salo, and it was 1-0 for the Big D. Now, halfway through the second period, Morrow goes to work on Doug Weight. And Wade had to leave the game with back spasms. That is not good for the Edmonton Oilers. Don't have to tell you that. Marchand now on the backhand, and Eddie the Eagle gets just a piece of this puck, but Marchand keeps whacking away, and all that whacking and hacking pays off. He ties the game at 1 apiece. Buck 27 after that. Modano goes to the big man with a plan. Darian Hatcher scores.
Get out to center. Need him up. Marchand. There's Morrow, a high wrist shot out of the reach of Belfour.
And again, now you can see the way the Oilers are pinching down the boards, and it's been quite effective in this second period, as the Stars have not spent too much time in their own zone.
Here's a pass for Marchand, and he can't get a shot away, as Matt Tkachuk recovered. Oilers change their defensive pairing, and Poti now has the puck. Ed Manning to Larocque over the line. Pass for Ryan Smith on the left side. Hit Larocque with the shot as he and Matt Tkachuk went down in front of the net. Matt Tkachuk a little slow to get up as the play goes up ice. Grant Marshall and Hammerluck. Final minute of the second period. Poti up ahead on right wing for Guerin. Now Chad Kilger's out there with Guerin and Ryan Smith. Here's Lyashenko's shot, handled by Salo. Brett Hull forechecking as Kilger plays it back to Hammerluck. Ryan Smith on the left wing, long pass on the right side for Guerin, too far. And Hull back to collect it in his own zone. Pass intercepted at center by Hammerluck. Hull goes after it, takes it away. Here's Brett Hull, snapshot right on Salo.
Good solid save for Salo after letting in that second goal. That's what he needed. This has been a good period for Edmonton. The Dallas Stars have not spent a lot of time in the Edmonton zone. However, the end result is still the Oilers are down by 1.
Maybe one more shot for the Stars. Here's Morrow, and it off his skate. And the Oilers will dump it out to center. Shots were even in the second period. Marchand tied the game after Langenbrunner had given Dallas the lead, but then Hatcher, 87 seconds later, restores the Stars' advantage through 40 minutes. So the Oilers down by 1, facing elimination here in Dallas in Game 5. Back at Reunion Arena and set for the third period. The Oilers trying to prevent it from being their final period of the 99-2000 campaign. And we start with Morrow, Larocque, and Marchand up front. Poti sends it in, and Belfour leaves the net. Did not see Doug Weight come on the ice to start this third period. Here's Marchand, taken out by Cote. Larocque's got it now. Up against Carbonneau, wards off that check. Larocque trying to come out in front, stuff it, and Belfour held the short side. Now Cote off Marchand. And Carbonneau picks it up. Here's Guy Carbonneau, and that one off a stick up into the end seats. And with the Stanley Cup update, here's Ron.
Thank you, Chris. Scoreless between the Avalanche and the Coyotes in the second period, but here's Jeremy Roenick with a chance as Travis Green springs him. Roenick splits the defense and beats Patrick Roy in his 100th Stanley Cup playoff game. Roenick's second of these playoffs has the Coyotes up by 1.
And are they getting fired up in Phoenix? Perhaps. Well, Hatcher was fired up in the second period, and he fired one past Tommy Salo late in the period to give his team a 2-1 lead. It'll be interesting to see here. I expect the Stars now to sit back and just play in the neutral zone and wait for a break. And you know the Oilers have to gamble. They're going to have to gamble all over the ice to try and get back and get some chances to score. We have just 6 chances for the Edmonton Oilers after 2 periods.
And Doug Waite remains in the Oiler dressing room with Ken Lowe, the athletic therapist. And we're waiting for a further update on the Oilers captain. Right now, Dowd has taken center ice. He's swung it in front and scores! Jim Dowd from behind the net has tied it.
Well, both goaltenders in this hockey game with errors. Tommy Salo in the second period on Hatcher's goal, and now Ed Belfour as Dowd just attempts to wrap the puck around. And I believe it hit somebody in front, perhaps. And if it did, maybe we shouldn't call it a Belfour error. Or did it hit Belfour's stick? We'll wait and see. Good work by Guerin on the pressure. And yes, you can't blame Belfour for this because it hits Hatcher's skate. And a break for the Edmonton Oilers early here in the third period as it hits Hatcher's skate and goes right in between the legs of Ed Belfour. And let's see now what kind of life this generates for the Edmonton Oilers. What a break early in the game. Who would have expected this?
Jim Dowd, a Lake Superior State teammate of Doug Waite, pressed into service on the big line. And he has an enormous goal to tie it early in this third period. 1:07, the time of the tying goal. Knocked down at the line with a high stick, and play is stopped.
Now the whole look of this game just changed. You knew that the Dallas Stars were going to trap with their 1-goal lead and be patient. But now with this goal going between Ed Belfour's legs off Hatcher's skate, this is a whole new game once again early here in the third. And what a season for Dowd after spending last year in the minors, looking like he was down and out, getting his chance to come back to Edmonton and having a remarkable year for the Edmonton Oilers.
Dowd had a goal in game number 3 and now another after going 21 without a goal. Here's Sador playing it in behind the net. Nieuwendyk takes over there. Nieuwendyk trying to come out in front. Loose puck, Salo down, and he smothers the puck. Well, once again, Dowd scoring, replacing Doug Waite, who is in the Oiler dressing room, and we continue to monitor his progress.
And Waite, this is the injury in the second period of play. Now, there is the hit by Morrow, and you know, we heard it was back spasms from the Edmonton Oilers, but here he is walking back now from the X-ray room moments ago. And if you're going to get X-rayed, I don't know that it would be back spasms. Perhaps it's ribs, although I'm not a doctor and I'm only guessing. And we're just getting word that he's coming back in the game and he's lacing up his skates right now.
Interesting that the goal scorers for the Oilers, Dowd replacing Waite, and Todd Marchant coming back from an injury that kept him out the last 2 games. So they're pulling out all the stops here to try and force a game 6. Couldn't catch up to it. Cut off by Hammerlich, who has been one of the best Oilers here so far tonight. Muller had trouble with it in front of the Dallas bench, and Morrow sends it in. Now Dowd picks off a pass, sends it across. Niedema steps up. Niedema in front, Belfour down, and Larocque couldn't find the rebound.
And he almost tipped it as well. That was close.
Cote doesn't have a stick, gives way to Lyashenko. Roman Lyashenko plays it in. And Niedema back to get it. Guy Carbonneau there for Dallas. Keane off the board. Mike Keane. And that shot off the end of his stick wide.
There's a chance here for Salo in this third period to win this game for his hockey team. Let's not forget he made one mistake in the second, but he can redeem himself here in the third.
There's the veteran Carbonneau. He sends it in front. There's a shot. Salo got a piece of that. Pressure now by Dallas as Keane throws it across. Hull's on the ice, and he hit the side of the net with that shot. So Ken Hitchcock changes things up, has Hull on with 2 checkers, and Keane and Carbonneau trying to work it loose for Hull. Back to the point, Matvechuk shot. Salo seemed to be knocked off guard in the Oilers' net, And he wasn't ready for that shot, but the Oilers get it. And Matvichuk unable to glove it down. Here's Ryan Smith into the Dallas zone. Smith stops up, Rem Murray follows. Here's Murray barging in, Belfour down, couple of whacks at it. And the puck comes loose. Ulanov knocked it off Modano's stick. Now a long pass sliding into the Edmonton zone as they unpile in front of Ed Belfour at the other end. Brendan Morrow upended, and the Oilers charge back. Selivanov, it's opening up in the third. Fans on that shot. Sador behind the net rings the boards, a collision. Hody knocked away from the puck. Now he's got it in front of the Oiler bench, and Rem Murray takes over.
And Ulanov's having a great shift. You know, he broke up a play after that strong chance by the Oilers, and that would have been a breakaway for Modano. Now we have an offside. But what a chance for the Edmonton Oilers. Right in the slot to begin with as Rem Murray walked right in on Ed Belfour, and then the puck ended up right in the slot. But on the counter out of that chance, Ulanov stepped up right in the neutral zone. Here's the initial chance as Ryan Smith stops. Now the Oilers are on a change, so he's just looking for a player. He finds Rem Murray. Here's the initial chance, and Selivanov just gets jammed in front. But how about this play by Ulanov? Just stepping up. Modano was absolutely gone. And that forced a bad pass afterwards. Here is the play here. That's a gamble, but it worked for Ulanov. Mike Modano would have been absolutely gone on a breakaway if he didn't step up.
So the Oilers have been up-tempo in this third period. First the tying goal, and now starting to generate chances. Marchand comes back in. He's pinned against the glass by Pusher. Morrow in the corner, scrumming for it. There's Larocque. Langenbrunner trying to impede his progress. And Langenbrunner knocked him off the puck. Stars work their way out. Langenbrunner, who opened the scoring, gets it across to Thornton, a shot, and Salo closed the pads.
That was the same shot that Hatcher beat him with in the second period. This time he had a stick on the ice. It's a good thing, or that would have been in.
Icing the call against Edmonton as Tommy Salo makes that save off Scott Thornton.
Well, Salo gets his stick down on the Thornton shot this time, and he kept the puck out. In the second period, the stick didn't stay down, and the puck went right between his legs. And it's interesting, this is a smart shot by Thornton. He saw how the first goal, or the second goal of the game for Dallas went in on him, so he tried the same spot right there, and this time his stick is on the ice. Here's the Hatcher goal. Right, the same shot, and his stick wasn't on the ice. Smart play by Thornton, and Tommy Salo went to school.
Stars won that face-off against Jim Dowd, and Dowd had been perfect. 9 straight face-offs wins through 40 minutes. Ulanov tentatively, and now Pody. Cross to Ryan Smith and out at center ice. Aaron gets it back. He flips it through center. There's Dowd after it, and it's offside at the Dallas line.
Well, you have to admire Dowd because he has had to step it up in Waite's absence. They were scored against on that Hatcher goal in the second period, but what did Dowd do? He answered with a goal here early in the third. And he's been a force. I've talked about the role players for the Edmonton Oilers really not producing. Dowd is a role player, but he's one that has produced for the hockey club.
You know, you marvel at Mike Keenan, Guy Carbonneau, checking line forwards who end up plus 10, plus 12 on the regular season, and that's exactly what Jim Dowd did with the Oilers as their fourth line center. He was a plus 10 player during the regular season.
It was funny, Chris, somebody asked Guy Carbonneau about the Selke yesterday. He kind of shook his head and said, well, there's so many of us now that know how to check in the league. Dowd's a good example.
Of course, Carbonneau would know he's a 3-time Selke winner.
I got to tell you, he'd have my vote this year at 40 years of age. How's that?
Kirk Muller says he's still the smartest guy in the game. I guess he's only getting smarter with the more experience he logs. Icing call against Dallas. 6:31 into the third. You're watching Hockey Night in Canada, brought to you by Labatt Blue.
Well, guess who's coming back in the game? Here he comes, Doug Waite. And you can imagine what the players are going to think on the bench when Doug Waite comes skating onto the ice. Hurt, but willing to participate in the third period, and here he comes out on the ice, getting ready to jump on, and he'll be there as soon as this puck goes down.
So Waite went down about 10 minutes to go in the second period. We've got a penalty coming up. Harry Fraser is making a call, and it looks like Doug Waite may be coming out for a power play. As we join Ron McLean with a Stanley Cup update.
Chris, thank you very much. Second period, 1-0 Phoenix leading, but Colorado draws even. That's Peter Forsberg with Sandis Ozolinsh and a beautiful pass, and he makes no mistake. His third of the playoffs, evens it in Denver.
How about Sandis Ozolinsh, Ron, after having a tough second half, has really turned it on in the playoffs. And now a big-time chance as Sylvain Cote's in the penalty box. And yes, Doug Waite is back, and they're going to put him on the point of the power play. Perhaps the reason for that is, in fact, they don't want him into any low scrums. He can be the puck-handling defenseman, if you will, on the point for the Oilers on this power play.
Out on the face-off, Guerin and Ryan Smith, Cody and Waite. Carbonneau for the Stars. Puck comes loose and the Oilers get it. Guerin tries to shovel it back to Pody. Mike Keane is there for Dallas. Matvichuk took a swat at it. Pody knocked it down. Carbonneau with the glove, and he flips it out with the left hand.
See how Doug Waite does here handling the puck. Not bad.
Takes a return pass from Ryan Smith. Pody off his skate, gets it ahead. Ryan Smith. Oilers are into Dallas territory. Dowd playing it in behind the net. There's Guerin. And the pass broken up by guess who? And Carbonneau coolly comes out to center.
Let's see if the Dallas Stars try Waite one-on-one here, killing the penalty, knowing that he's just been hurt and knowing that he's a defenseman on this power play. Don't forget, he's a forward normally.
Left it in. Modano went after it. Puck loose, and the Oilers are up with it. There's Pody across to Waite. He fires, tip just to the side of the net. Close call there. To the line. It's knocked by Waite. Look out, Modano nearly got loose, and Tom Pody saved the day. Now Waite's back in. Cross ice pass. Pody flicks it at the net just wide. 45 seconds left in the Oiler power play. They came close and then almost gave up a break for Modano.
And Waite couldn't even pinch in there. Normally he would have gone in. He's going to try and stay out of the traffic areas. I'm pretty sure it's his ribs, just the way he's moving. But my goodness, what a shot on goal and a terrific chance to score by Doug Waite on that last shift.
Selivanov shot it in. Rem Murray draped against the boards along with Keane. Murray trying to find the loose puck. It'll come to the near side, and Nienema moves down. Yanni Nienema in behind the net. T-Tob, Murray, Hammerlick at the point. Rem Murray, 9 seconds of the power play. A chance for Hammerlick, shot deflected. Belfour down, and a scramble in front, but Belfour smothers the puck as the penalty to Cote expires.
Well, this period's been all Edmonton Oilers, and my goodness, are they working that power play well. And if it wasn't for Ed Belfour a couple of times in terms of big saves, the Stars might be in big trouble. This puck redirects. What I like about the Oilers power play is they're now starting to shoot the puck from the net, and how about all the traffic in front? As this puck just bounces in on Belfour, redirects, and he stays with it enough so it hits him right in the crest.
Kevin Lowe said in the first 2 games, the point men were unable to take shots, and then in the second, or the other games in Edmonton, the shots just weren't getting through. So that's starting to work for the Oilers now as the point shots are getting in on Belfour. Stars back at full strength, 11-11 to go in the third period. There's Larocque jostling with Thornton once again. Kept in at the line. Sador shot. And that went wide. Nieuwendyk hopping after it. There's Thornton from the corner. Out to push it. Across for Sador. His shot flutters wide. Thornton in front. And Larocque will start back the other way. Here come the Oilers. Ethan Morrow working against Pusher, who does the job defensively.
Again, it's this Nieuwendyk line that's giving the Oilers all kinds of trouble. Nieuwendyk and Langenbrunner. And then, of course, on the other side, Scott Thornton. Every time they're on, they get a good chance to score. Somehow the Oilers are going to have to answer that line before this game is over.
Dowd back out with Ryan Smith and Guerin. Here's Smith. Dowd shooting, and Guerin was on the doorstep. Another loose puck. Ryan Smith in front. And Belfour got a piece of that. And right now, Jim Dowd is providing a spark on the Oilers' top line.
You know Wade's hurt, or he'd be in that spot.
Merlick at the left point, into the corner. Modano bodies Dowd. Look at Ulanov step up. He took a hit from Hatcher. Modano along the end boards, and he's able to get it out past Guerin, who was covering for Ulanov. Now Brendan Morrow steals it in the Edmonton zone, knocked off his stick and back out by Guerin. We remain tied at 2. The equalizer from Jim Dowd, unassisted, 67 seconds into this third period. Under 9.5 minutes to go in the third. Belfour out of the net. There's Dave Manson out to center. Smith and Nienema. Kevin Lowe going with 4 defensemen at this stage for the most part.
He's going to have to for now to try and win this game in regulation. They're on the road. They want to finish it up quick.
Caraboneau lost it. Sylvanov back in with Nienema. Dave Manson rings the boards past Muller, past Smith, and it'll go the length of the ice. Nienema back. Still tied at 2. You're watching Hockey Night in Canada. Brought to you by Labatt Blue. Oilers played follow the leader in Game 3 as they rode Doug Waite's leadership and hat trick to a win. Looks like for the most part tonight they are going to have to do it without the captain. Here's a chance, and the net knocked off as Sylvanov crashed the net. From the face-off, Jason Smith's shot knocked down. Who's going to be the hero tonight? 8:38 remaining in the third period, a 2-2 tie in Game 5. The Oilers trying to cook up an Easter Sunday dinner in Game 6 at Skyreach. Chairman Titov in the middle to Rem Murray. There's Sylvanov jarred as he's offside at the Dallas line.
Boy, the Oilers, without question, they've been the better team the second half of this hockey game. They've been getting the puck in deep. They've been throwing it towards Ed Belfour, and they've had more chances in the third period with 7 than they did in the first 2 periods with 6. So obviously, since that lucky goal, if you will, from behind the net by Jim Dowd, the Oilers have gained all kinds of energy, and it didn't hurt getting their captain back, at least on the bench anyway. And I think they'll use Doug Weight, it looks like, only on the power play here in this third period, unless they slip him out late in the period.
Shots are 7-3 in favor of the Oilers in the third. They've now outshot Dallas 24-23 on the night. Roman Lyashenko winds up, pounding it in on Salo, and he'll hold on.
And a little scrum afterwards. Todd Marchand. This is something that the Oilers missed a little bit in Game 4, a little spunk. And Todd Marchand certainly has provided that in this hockey game tonight.
I wanted to ask you about that because Kevin Lowe made an interesting statement after the game. He said, my sense is that we didn't want it as much as they did. It surprised me a little bit in a hotly contested game, or was he trying to get a result in Game 5 through his words?
Oh, very much so. He was just setting up Game 5, putting a little fire under his team, and I love the way he said, let's get back to Skyreach. All the guys on the Edmonton Oilers really want to get back for a Game 6 at Skyreach. They just have been talking about the atmosphere and how much they owe it to their fans. Well, they're close here.
Here comes Ethan Morrow. He hit the side of the net, and Manson has it for Dallas, lugging it to center. Up to his partner Cote to the line, and here's Muller taking down his line mate Marshall as they had a malfunction at the junction. Grant Marshall up, centering it. Here's a chance, and oh, what a stop! Did you see that? Salo robbing Roman Lyashenko.
Well, we've talked about it the whole game. Tommy Salo needed some big saves. Is this the save that he needs for his hockey club to gain a little more energy to perhaps win this game? And how about that snag on Lyashenko? Good concentration. His glove is out. It's up. That's a beauty. That's a beauty, folks.
Modano and Dowd on this draw. They're talking about Game 6. Even the Stars talked a lot about Game 6. There's Matt Tkachuk right on, and how much they wanted to avoid that trip back north. You don't usually hear teams referring to a game beyond the one that they have to play as much as these two teams did. Ryan Smith plays it behind the net. Guerin quickly in front of the backhand, and play is stopped. I think Dennis Leroux lost sight of the puck, and play halted in front of Belfour.
And that might have been a good thing for the Oilers, because going the other way, Mike Modano is cheating up the left boards, and Hatcher ended up with the puck in the slot. And Hatcher goes back, and this is the initial chance. And how about Ryan Smith with his great board play? He might be one of the best players in the league on the boards. He always gains possession. Here's the chance. The puck goes out. Now Hatcher has him. Way over here is Mike Modano. He's taking off. And he was cheating high.
From the face-off, Carbonneau gets it. Jason Smith lost his footing at the line. Here comes Keane. Dowd quickly back defensively. Centering pass, and Ryan Smith with a great play to knock Carbonneau off the puck, and that gets a big reaction here at Reunion.
And the refs will let him play if they can here now.
Back at the point, Jason Smith, the knuckleball that's gloved down by Belfour. An outlet pass from Matt Tkachuk on the tape to Carbonneau at center. Here come the Stars over the line. Aaron Geevy. That shot went wide. Sylvanov out to center. 6:26 to play.
And now waits on the ice as a forward. Although I said that the refs will let them play, Kerry Fraser is one official in the league that is not afraid to call late penalties if they are penalties. Now Fraser's explaining right now to Ken Hitchcock that he went after the stick and pushed his man off. Smith, let's see if we can pick it up. And Smith going for the puck is the way that Kerry Fraser called that one, as he told that to Ken Hitchcock just before this faceoff.
Carbonneau was enraged at the Stars bench. An earful for the officials. Here's Rem Murray. In behind the net, there's Waite. Pusher watching him. And that puck sent out of play.
Doug Waite is up front, and you know he's in considerable pain. There's no question about it. A very concerned Ken Hitchcock from the bench. And I'm sure Lowe feeling a little bit better as his team has scored the last goal and has had all the momentum in this third period of play. Now Waite won't take the draws either, another indication that he's hurting. Well, he'd be on the face-off here as he talks to Ren Murray.
Well, some of the Oilers, 7 in fact, have been through this before. They roared back from a 3-1 deficit to beat Colorado.
And they're looking for Hammerlick off the draw, as Ren Murray will try to snap it right back, although Guy Carbonneau, he times these so well.
Murray wins this one, though. Boy, that's been a vastly improved department for the Edmonton Oilers tonight. Here's Sylvanov, unable to get a shot away. And the puck played off the glass and out to Modano at center. Knocked away from Modano. He'll go get it again. And it's Sador. Brendan Morrow at the line with Hull. Stood up there by Hammerlick. Modano crashing in, looking for a loose puck against Bodie. Now knocked to the far side. Sador moving up, takes the hit. Sador well up on the play now. Hull covering for him as Morrow battles his man and takes down Sylvanov. Waite up with the puck, and he is able to get it out to center. Modano to the Dallas bench. 5 minutes, 10 seconds remaining in the third period. Still tied at 2. Here comes Nieuwendyk. Drops for Hull, scores!
A 3-on-2 break from center ice. Brett Hull has been absolutely on fire in this whole series. There's the giveaway. Here comes the 3-on-2, and Hull just snaps it. And believe me, he gets all of this. No backswing whatsoever. On his stick, off his stick, and that leverage again as he just flies it right past Salo. And the reaction tells the story.
Third of the series, 80th of the Stanley Cup playoffs for Brett Hull. Nobody in this game scored more in postseason play, and Brett Hull as a potential series winner at 14:58 of the third. But now the Oilers dart back in. Marchand took a whack at it and went wide. Jason Smith moves up, and it's knocked by him out to center. Nieuwendyk and Cote assisting on the go-ahead goal by Brett Hull. And the puck tied up in the Dallas zone. 4.5 minutes left in the third. And the Oilers have to come from behind again.
Brett Hull with 17 shots in this series before this game. That's just over 4 shots a game. That's too many. You can't let a goal scorer like Brett Hull have that many, although how do you stop him? And a big goal here in Dallas with 4:30 to go for the Stars and Hull.
Hull talked earlier in the series about how the regular season was a disaster. 24 goals in the regular season. Not many for a guy who led in goal scoring in the 90s with 494.
Now Brett Hull, let's see if we can pick up. He uses a pretty curved stick, there's no question about it. Now what's he gonna do? He gets the goal, and he's gonna switch sticks, just in case perhaps that one might have been illegal. He's gonna get another stick, and believe me, that one is legal. If the other one wasn't, I don't know, but we know that one was. And a lot of players do that in the National Hockey League, just in case their sticks maybe are a little bit close to being illegal in tight hockey games.
The keen guys in the truck tell us Mike Modano did the same thing. Now the Oilers. What's left in the tank? They have not had a lead at any time in Dallas in the series. Now a pass on the right side. Guerin tees it up. Wide of the net. Ryan Smith goes to the end boards. Dowd there. Smith trying to kick it free. Dowd works it loose. Jani Niinimaa lays it back in. Knocked down by Langenbrunner. And he'll flip out to center.
And you know these Oilers won't go away here for the next 3 minutes. They're going to play desperate, desperate hockey just to try to get one more chance at the Stars.
Doug Weight has come over the boards with Sylvanov and Rim Murray. But here's Nieuwendyk, and Thornton was just in ahead of the play, offside.
Todd Marchand with a gutsy effort tonight. The Oilers with a gutsy effort, but is it enough against the defending Stanley Cup champions? We'll find out in the next 3:22. As they desperately need to get a little more offense generated here in the next 3 minutes. And let's not forget, Kevin Lowe has to make sure he has the right players on the ice so he can set up a situation with 1 minute to go to have Salo out of the net and his goal scorers on the ice.
Ken Hitchcock counters with his defensive specialists, Carbonneau, Keane, and Muller. There's Sylvanov. Still looking for his first goal of the series. Ulanov outlets to Hammerlich. Rim Murray on the far side, held up by Carbonneau. And it's shot into the Dallas bench for another stoppage with 2:46 to play.
And we've seen this so often now. We're going to have one flare in for the Stars. Carbonneau will see a lot of ice time. And then they're going to jam everybody up in the neutral zone. And just try to defend this lead for the last couple of minutes. And the dejected Tommy Salo is looking at the clock, trying to time when he's going to come out, when he gets the word from Kevin Lowe. And when will Kevin Lowe pull Salo? Will it be a little earlier based on the fact that the Oilers haven't had too many chances in this building? Or will it be right at the 1 minute mark?
Hammerlick back to get it. Ethan Morrow, Marchand, and Larocque are up front. There's Morrow knocking down his man, but Nieuwendyk moves into the Edmonton zone, lost his footing, puck squirted in front, and now Pody headmans to Marchand. He'll flip it in, and Belfour out of the net. Tried to swing it around, knocked down by Morrow, but the Stars are able to get it out to center. God Marchand flicking it ahead, glove down by Cote. Marchand on it quickly. He'll race in. Weak shot wide on the far side. Morrow turns, and that shot off target. Hammerlick plays it in behind for Larocque. Modano on him quickly. There's Morrow along the far boards, and Modano intercepts and gets it out. And the fans starting to rise to their feet, anticipating that this will be it, but there's still 1:40 to go, and Salo will be leaving the net soon. Aaron sends it back in. Atcher bodied along the boards.
Lowe's got to get him out here. There's 1:20 left.
And the puck out to center. There's Smith with the backhand flip deep. Salo still hasn't left. Jason Smith pinching along the boards. Brendan Morrow went down, and it's still in deep. Salo still not sure. He's edging out, and now goes. Extra man comes out for Edmonton. Sador and Guerin race for it. Waits the extra man. Gets it to Nienema. Shot right on, rebound. Went right by Ryan Smith. Modano's got it. Up to Morrow, and he'll flip it ahead. Brett Hull couldn't knock it past Nienema. Nobody's sitting down at reunion now as Waite flicks it back in deep. Matt Tkachuk banged on it as he tried to pound it around. Jason Smith knocks it down, but the Stars get it out. Half-minute left. Nienema over to Jason Smith, having trouble with it. Keane knocks it down, and his shot gloved down by Nienema. They're running out of time. Less than 20 seconds to go, and the Stars have the puck. Now Jason Smith's got it. Up ahead, off Waite. He'll get it in deep. 10 seconds to go. Matt Tkachuk. He'll fire it right back down the ice. And the Dallas Stars, for the third consecutive year, will eliminate the Edmonton Oilers in a thrilling first-round series.
Stars credit. They had a tough series, and they knew it, but they responded the way all champions do, winning a game in Edmonton and coming back here and closing it out. And how about the Edmonton Oilers? Kevin Lowe, his first year as a coach in the National Hockey League, did a marvelous job. Craig McTavish as well, Teddy Green, and the Edmonton Oilers deserve a lot of credit. Tommy Salo battled. Guerin came back with a hat trick in this series after being criticized a couple of times. And I do admire the Edmonton Oilers. They're just one big star player away, or maybe perhaps a draft pick that gets going in a hurry because of their small market situation, Chris.
Dallas talked about the Oilers series last year being the springboard to their cup run. And will this be another springboard for the Stars? Last year it was a hard-fought sweep. The final game was the triple overtime affair. They called it a 5-game series, and this a 5-game series as well. But a thriller as Belfour prevails. over Salo, and Brett Hull, who had 2 game winners in the final last year, gets the series winner to start their defense of the Cup this season.
Well, you've got a nice young team, Edmonton, and you're only going to get better. I got to tell you one thing, the Edmonton Oilers are sure fun to watch. And the Dallas Stars, they've started their run, and they're starting to cook as well here.
2 Detroit area rivals, Modano and Waite, to exchange pats, Belfour and LaRock, as the Stars win it in Game 5, 3-2.
Dallas Stars oust the Oilers. They'll play either Colorado or San Jose. Here are the 4-3 Stars tonight at Reunion Arena. Brett Hull does it again. Joel Nieuwendyk, Yanni Niedermeyer, and here's Brett with Scott Russell.
Yeah, Ron, 80th playoff goal of his career. Brett Hull gets the winner tonight. Well, you got by the Edmonton Oilers. Can you tell us about that team? They're pretty tough, aren't they?
They are. They're gritty. They're hard-nosed. You look behind their bench and you look at the people that are coaching them, and Kevin Lowe and Teddy Green and Craig McTavish, and you know they've got heart and they got soul, and they're well coached, and they're certainly a tough opponent. They play you hard, they play you physical, and then they throw Guerin and Waite and Smith and Hammerlick and Potty. I mean, they're a tremendous team, and we feel very fortunate to have it ended right now.
And then talk about your team and your turnaround in particular. You had talked about the bad season, and yet it's going right in the postseason.
Well, I don't know. I mean, it was one of those years where there was no time in the summer and injuries and whatnot, and it just never got rolling. But the team, they hung together, and we played well within the system, and we had another great year. And we said, let's just start fresh, and we'll go into the playoffs with a whole clean slate and see what happens. And so far, so good.
You said when you came over, it's getting too hard. And then you said it's all intertwined with being too old. Are you thankful for the rest here, Brett, now?
Always. When you get my age and, you play a hard series like that, it's hard enough playing against a team like Edmonton, then trying to keep up to Modano every shift. It kind of puts a double whammy on you. But it's so much fun right now, and we just got to keep it going.
Thanks for this, and good luck the rest of the way, Brett.
Thank you.
There's Brett Hull with the winner tonight, Ron.
Thank you, Scott. Congratulations, Brett. And just as Guy Carbonneau scored a winner and was on the ice to finish it, so was Hull tonight. There's Glenn Sather. And, of course, there's been some speculation that Glenn may be looking for greener pastures. Do you think, Kelly, he'll be frustrated? I mean, Greg's right, Brett's right, everybody's right. This is an exciting team, and it's a hell of a run again, but it's 5 years in a row we've said this.
Well, I'm sure that frustrates him somewhat, but you know what? What he did yesterday I thought was brilliant again from Glenn Sather. He tried to rally the troops by saying that it's a big market team against a small market team. They don't really have a chance. Kind of trying to deflect the criticism or the pressure from the guys, just get them to focus on the hockey.
Do you think he'll stay?
No, I really don't. I think with the ownership in Edmonton, as it is right now, I think that it's time for Glenn Sather to move on.
The Oilers, obviously, Salo, they're going to question that goal. What'd you think of it? Brett Hull...
Easy to question at first,
yeah.
But when you consider that it's Brett Hull, and that snapshot is harder than most slap shots, and it was about 15 inches off the ice, and on the replay you could see that it just barely nicked Salo's pad, maybe a stick a little bit. So I know with only 4 minutes to go, it's a bad timing goal, but it's excusable.
Yeah, 80 in the playoffs and 610 in the regular season. Tommy's not the first to be tricked by
That's right.
a Hull shot. Now, let's go to McNichols Arena, or Pepsi Center now, of course, in Denver, where Phoenix and Colorado were tied 1-1 last time we checked, and Peter Forsberg drives to the front of the net. He's been tremendous. He's been all over tonight. So that gives the Avalanche a 2-1 lead, third period, as the Avs try to close out the Phoenix Coyotes. Well, Chris and Greg were just saying lots of speculation about Glenn's future, the Oilers' future. I don't know if we want to get into that too much tonight. And, of course, we think about the champs, but just you've had a second to think about it.
Well, what I think about is that for the Oilers to beat the defending Stanley Cup champions, they probably needed everybody on hand. I really think they missed Mike Greer's presence. He wasn't in the lineup at all and was a huge factor last year. And even tonight, Todd Marchant coming off a concussion, Doug Waite lost for half the game.
Well, there's no question, but then you look at the other side of the coin, and Sergei Zubov was not in the Dallas Stars lineup, and they didn't have a power play because of it. But I like the Edmonton Oilers. I really enjoy their hockey club, the way they play, Ron. I think they're really just a big market player away from being very successful, something that perhaps they don't have the luxury of doing in Edmonton. I mean, if they gave them $5 million more, which sounds like a lot of money, and it is, for one more marquee player, that might get them over the edge in these one-goal games in the first round. In saying all that, perhaps a player like a Hossa that you draft that accelerates quicker than anybody would expect, and you got to get lucky to get a player like that. And those are the things that I'm sure Glenn Sather will be looking at in the summer months, and it'll be interesting to see, as you mentioned, what will happen to Glenn Sather, whether he'll stay in Edmonton or not.
Kelly doesn't think so. Kelly thinks he might just move on.
I heard that, and quite frankly, I hear two sides. One time I hear that Glenn's moving on, and then the next minute we hear that he's denying it. One thing we know for sure about Glenn Sather, he will use this as a fine negotiating tool. And you know that for sure. He's no dummy.
Right.
Really would be interesting to see what kind of team he would put together with the kind of budget they have in New York, but it just wouldn't seem right if he's not running the Edmonton Oilers.
No, and he probably thinks a little bit about that too. Say what you will, he loves that part of the world. How about the Dallas Stars? Kelly, we'll start with you here. They get out of this more or less without too much injury.
Any injuries, but guys, I think that the key in this third period anyways was the play of Ed Belfour. He wasn't rattled after that lucky goal that the Oilers scored to start the third. You think that because of the success he had last year that he's such a key, he knows how to win now for the Stars?
Yeah, I don't think there's any question, Kelly. You're bang on that one. He's been very relaxed. I've noticed him, I did play with him in Chicago. He was a wired individual, a lot younger, mind you, but very intense. Now he seems to be much more relaxed, and I think it plays in the crease as well. He is a much more relaxed goaltender, and you look at the Dallas Stars, they have not been happy with their game. Even in the first couple of games in this series, we've heard them say, we're not firing yet. We're not firing yet. I think now, Chris, they're starting to fire a little bit better.
It's interesting. Ken Hitchcock from the start has emphasized they need Nieuwendyk and they need Hull to be better than they've been in the past, and they combined on the game-winning goal, and they got better as this series went on.
Yeah, Nieuwendyk took a wicked shot there in the head, and I'm glad he's not concussed, let alone looks like he might have had teeth or something damaged. But that was a gutty effort by the Stanley Cup champions. Thank you, Chris and Greg at Reunion Arena in Texas. Well, 4 games in the NHL tonight. We've seen that one, and let's just bring you up to date on highlights from around the league. Begin with Pittsburgh and Washington as the Penguins closed out the Capitals tonight. Tyler Wright got them on the board from Barnaby. That was Barnaby's first point in 9 playoff games in Slager, and it was good to get him rolling for the Penguins. Sergei Gonchar squares it with this bullet from Dahlin and Ricky. Ulf Dahlin reminds me of Doug Waite, the way he maneuvers. Then Olaf Kolzig with a save here on Straka that gave Washington some hope. But Jaromir Jagr, this is funny, Eddie Johnston.
Well, if you're the best player in the game, you should have a lot of advice for your coach.
What Eddie said was, if you shoot it back toward our end, there's no way Kolzig can anticipate that, and that's the way to beat him, and they did. So the likely MVP, I don't know, it could be Pronger, but Jagr definitely provides the Penguins with the victory. St. Louis won it 5-3. Pronger did get the game winner in that one, so we didn't decide anything in terms of who should win the Hart Trophy. Colorado has a lead, 2-1 in the third period in Denver, and they can close out that series. And of course, the final tonight at Reunion Arena was Dallas over Edmonton, 3-2. Tomorrow evening, Curtis Joseph, Tom Barrasso. We've got a great battle. There's been some tremendous quips, compliments of the coaches and the goaltenders. We'll begin it with Labatt Saturday night, 6:30 Eastern. Scott Oak went to Dallas and spoke to Roger Nielsen. So we'll be able to follow that story, and we'll certainly have lots to say about the Battle of Ontario and rehash how the Stanley Cup champions got past Edmonton. For all of us, thanks for watching this evening, and good night.